Hi Heather, it's Richard. So, Heather, I'll try and explain why it is. I'm actually surprised, shocked, and set back. And it's okay to be, just sat browsing the forums on a normal day, but there are a lot of things happening in the whole world, in the whole country at the moment that are a little bit out of the normal routine and the normal status quo. We've got a war on in Russia. The entire country went on lockdown from a virus. People haven't experienced that in this lifetime. It was kind of weird for everyone. There are lots of other things that are going on at the moment. Everything's changing with lots of news channels, freedom of open speech all across YouTube. Television's completely changed everything. There are a lot of scandals going on in the government. Well, a lot of things where at the moment, it's like if you can see it, it's not just get out of bed, go to work, come home, go to sleep, get out of bed, go home, go to work, go to sleep, routine. There are a lot of issues at the moment we're facing with health, greed with big companies, even as political rights are under threat. Even the right to object to houses has been threatened to be taken away, so we can't object to them building houses wherever they want. We might even have to be helping the Ridgeway soon because they might be wanting to build some holiday homes near the White Horse. So there were a lot of people losing the countryside and having to fight for the countryside. Now, it all started off when I noticed some things weren't right and I started investigating it, and I found that there were a lot of things being done wrong by local councils and a lot of things being done wrong by the police as well. And I started doing an investigation into it, and I found it was a really serious investigation and petition, and it uncovered lots of serious stuff. And then we go into the whole thing when Extinction Rebellion starts kicking off. We've got all these protests going on all around the country. People are sat in the motorway, hundreds of people blocking motorways off, blocking McDonald's supplies off, blocking newspaper outlets off. We've got alarm bells ringing all over England. There's something going on. People are saying that things aren't right. Now, then you've got all this Live Free websites and stuff like that. If you watch those, we're at a critical point, and the government is under a lot of pressure at the moment, and they're trying to avoid this inevitable fact that they have broken the law and they've done something wrong, and the news are sort of reluctant to face it as well. What has that got to do with ancient sites? Well, it's about who we all are. Who am I? Where am I from? How did I get here? Who are my ancestors? What is my name? Where did I come from? Who are you? Where did you come from? Everyone, who are we and where did we come from? How did we get here? Who are our ancestors? Who are those people? What is this country? Why are towns called towns? What are these ancient sites for? How did we become human beings, right? Now, currently, we've got people walking around in costumes, right? And we've got like police costumes and a hat, We've got post boxes, in the street, Royal Mail, they're a certain shape, they all symbolise something. Then hats, we've got men in costumes, judges. We go before these people and we're frightened of them. They've got all these robes and hammers and they hit them on tables. And it's a bit like if you watch the Mr. Ben cartoon, right? Then you've got these fire brigade people. It's a costume. Why have the costume on, Oh, because you need to know who he is. I'm a fireman, and I put fires out. This is a police officer. It's authority. It carries some sort of... they want you to know who they are, and they've got authority to act under law, and they're going to do some things that might be, these are soldiers. They've got tanks. They're armed. There are armed people walking around. There used to be armed people walking around, with swords and pistols, in the 1700s before it was illegal to be armed. You can still get the right to bear arms. We've got a queen. She wears a crown on her head and sits on a throne. And it's meant to, there are all these jewels and objects involved in it, like, mitres and crowns. And we've got priests, and we've got, like, seals, the Great Seal of England. We've got Parliament and all these books and gold-plated things. They're all meant to... it's not King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, but why have gold-plated ornate items and the wig? It's more than just a pantomime. These judges truly believe that they are, when you think you're right and they're wrong, you go to a courtroom, you're the one who's scared, you're the one who's defending yourself, they're attacking you with the law. These people, it's a magistrate. They have majesty. It's a magistrate. They carry the majesty of them before them. What is a costume for? You're meant to be... They're empowered. Now, in the medieval period, we had knights. There were different fashions, but they had shields, heraldry with emblems on, coloured shields with bright patterns and lions or unicorns or, certain shapes and patterns, trees, oak trees, or, they've got the Warwickshire bear, right? The current emblem of the monarchy of England is a unicorn and a lion. These are meant to be powerful creatures that are supposed to, when you look at them, we are the British government. We are in charge with an authoritative power. You're meant to feel that power, that they're in charge and you will obey them. When you write to the Queen, you write, I will always be your faithful servant and all this. If you're going to be knighted, you have to kneel. If you meet Prince William or Prince Charles, if you're a devoted citizen, you'll bow your head. You move your body for them. You bow. It's not just an handshake. You might do a curtsy or whatever. Power. Now, if you listen to that video that I put of that the Irish research lady does, she's got real compelling evidence that our names, they were stopping people from recording the true name that they had, their real name, who they were. It was outlawed and illegal. Not just for the sake of shorthand or because you couldn't pronounce it properly, as we're all led to believe. Or they started writing it this way because it was easier or because they didn't know how to spell properly. Apparently it was outlawed. And it was forced. They wanted to remove people's identity so they could properly identify who they are and who the ancestors were. Who am I? Who are these people? Who are we? Where do we come from? What have my ancestors achieved on this planet, in this life? We are someone, all of us, right? If someone is wanting to erase that and remove it, it is that there are issues. Now, that woman's proved that we're having his identities changed, literally. Now, another one of my investigations, this is more recently now, if you look at my petitions that I've been putting on the group, they're pretty serious. And they've got a lot of attached evidence. Detail upon detail upon detail upon detail, video upon video upon video, in my new YouTube channel. Now, my evidence that I've found, and I've done this properly, I swear, I found that we've had our heritage sites built on top of and covered up, erased, trying to acknowledge, try to lie about it, that it's not an ancient site, the Warriors' Tomb. They knew it was an ancient site. They didn't want us to know about it or have it recognised. Our two other hill forts here are clearly long barrows. They're big long barrows. No one's wanted to recognise them as big long barrows, right? Now, when the guy started doing archaeology on our hill fort, a war broke out. The World War II broke out while he was excavating our hill fort. Now, they didn't want him to acknowledge and publish the truth about our ancient heritage sites. Why is that? The reason is the heritage of the sites and the people who lived on those sites and built them, the actual humans, the ancestors, all the knowledge, all the previous governments, religious orders of those people who were conquered, invaded, and taken over by the Romans, and a new governing body replaced them until the Romans pulled out. And then we have, in 1066, we again have another wave where conquered and invaded again, right? Now, the new religion wanted to eradicate all the knowledge of the previous religions and the previous religious power sources. That was one of the missions. We've got accounts of Druids being slaughtered and murdered by the Romans. Anglesey, it's graphic. That's what happened. These were people, an order of priesthood who were in charge of the British Isles and Gaul, centred in England. That was the power source. We've got a whole culture whose emblems and symbols were displayed in, not on shields, but they made their homes in the shapes and forms of their power animals and their stories and legends. Bears, deer antlers, the heart, dragons, mythical creatures, and the hill forts and the ancient sites were a celebration and acknowledgement of those creatures, the White Horse at Uffington. And now it's clear that that hill fort, no matter what name is used currently by the humans who are living there, what names they have been told to call it, and what they have been told to write down and pass on, what you know it for, anyone can see when you look at that site, it is, you don't need to know where the border of Cornwall and Devon are. You don't need to know any names of any towns or anything, because we know Cornwall is referring to a barrier. A wall is a barrier or a line, a dividing line. It doesn't matter exactly where it is. Different borders move on different maps. Suffice to say that as you enter that elongation of England, that extension of England, which almost is like it is an elongation itself, almost like a long barrow shape. And it isn't even that wide. You can see in the photograph, you can see the ocean at both sides. We've got this, as you enter the elongation that goes out from Somerset towards this tail of England that goes out, we've got this huge, prominent form, which is clearly a flying dragon shape. The serpent's head, and on the head of it is an Iron Age hill fort. Now, if that isn't from all the different amalgamations of legends that can be slightly forgotten or changed through all of history, where is the symbol of the dragon? Wales. But what's the main thing about it is that it's supposed to, the Celts and the Celtic language are preserved, and it's meant to be some sort of border, and the symbol's a dragon. Now, if anybody had warped or changed the stuff, now let's just go back to that woman who's been saying they changed our names and made it was unlawful to have certain names, and they tried to make us change them and forget them because of our history. Now, the evidence is in the land, in the site, in the hill fort. It has to be. It must be. Because it is there. The true border, the true pen, a pen is something that, it's something that keeps something in or out. A border, it's not Wales. The dragon is the border of the elongation of that southwest. It has to be. Because there's a hill fort at the head of the dragon form with its wings right out. And it when you zoom out to look at it's covering a significant area of the entire landmass of the island. I mean, you can see it when you're zoomed out. You might even be able to see it from space. It's that well, maybe it's not as big as Great Wall of China, but it's a decent size. It has to be. That must be the clan of the dragon. It has to have been the clan of the dragon. And if it's the clan of the dragon, then where do we get Pendragon from? It must be. So Arthur Pendragon, no matter what we are told about Glastonbury or what Geoffrey of Monmouth has written, just look at the land. It's so obvious. And also, if you have got a hill fort which is right on the head of the dragon, if you have fires on there, because obviously all Iron Age places, where they live, you have a fire, it clearly would be like fire breathing on the dragon, on the mouth. And actually, it must have looked spectacular. I think it looks spectacular now, although it's got certain trees on it that are highlighting the shape. But it's been, no one talks about it. Now, what I found is also our hill forts have been not identified as long barrows when they are, and another one's been covered up and hidden. Why? It's not the ancestry and history and heritage of the current government and imperial power that is in charge of the country. It's not their history and ancestry. They came into the country and their lineages go into other countries. Now, and they conquered this country. They don't really want to celebrate it, because if they do celebrate it and it is made out that it is spectacular and magnificent, it's not going to make them look better or any good, because it's not what you do when you're a ruler. You need all the citizens to be devoted to and love you as a ruler and bow. Now, when you start getting out the cobwebs off the previous conquered cultures and even show how amazing and spectacular it is, then it's cramping your style and it's bigging up their style. Now, all the stories we've got and all the tales we've got about the Druids and the pagans aren't very good ones from the Christians. They were macabre. They had weird practices. They used to tell the fortune with entrails hanging out of, and all these sacred groves with guts everywhere. Or they were always warring all the time and arguing. I don't believe it. I get angry and annoyed sometimes. I sometimes fight with my brother. I have done in the past. But it's usually forgive each other. It's like rugby, it's a bit rough sometimes, but we've got, who are these people? Now, I know who I am and where I'm from. I'm an honest, kind person, and I've been all my life when I've been brought up. I've always cared about other people and gone out of my way for other people. That's my genetics. That's who I am. Not some wild, untamed race of, wild men or something. Now, if you are very grateful, kind, and thankful to the planet and love animals, you do tributes to them. You make white horses and thank God for creating horses, and you get these beautiful things like the white horse. If your people have emblems of dragons, you build your hill forts as a massive dragon, and it symbolises the power of the people. And where if they've come up through the Scilly Isles and from the coast of France, if that's where the cultures come from, the cairn and barrow culture, and then it transformed into the long barrow culture here. It's flying up that way. These are people who celebrated and loved nature and animals, and they built their entire homes into forms of animals, and not lions and not unicorns, but other animals, bears, dragons, deer. But at the moment, the only bear we've got is Warwickshire, which is, hinting at having a war, and the bear's in chains. It's been chained. Now, these animals and motifs are meant to have power in our minds. When you see the unicorn and lion, and you're in a court with a judge, you're meant to tremble as if it's, a lion there. And when the judge slams his hammer, you're obedient, or, he'll get other humans to carry you off. Even though you might be right and he might be wrong. These authorities it's how they use power. And now they've got advertising, television, broadcasting. It's all about the order of government and how the land's run and ruled. Now, these ancient, mythical and very real places, Uffington, our place at the Brigantes area, the Dragon, each area had an emblem and a specialisation. Like at Sisbury Ring, they were digging flint up, We are, if you are not from Britain, if you are from, if you want to identify with Norwegians or, Germans or some other place, it won't be that important to you and it won't mean anything to you. But if you are from England, Ireland, Scotland or Wales, it will mean something, because these people have, and a lot of them know this, the archaeologists who have had access to the information, but they didn't want to say it. It's not until you go on to YouTube and Google Maps and you get the information and you start looking at it and you've got a clear mind. You've got to be clear on it as well. And a lot of the foods they're giving us are clouding as minds and memories, and it's not clicking. But it's all about who we are, but it's also about where we're going in the future. Currently, technology's taking over. The natural world is being enveloped under this massive spread of urban sprawl, technology, Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, that they've got. It's like, the Luddites wouldn't have had a chance in stopping machinery. It's unlikely that, we're going to stop technology, because the men behind it, have got a will to their version and belief in progress is progress in technology. You can have a planet where you could have an evolution of mankind and the human mind and body just purely biologically evolving to be more efficient and to be more intelligent and more stronger without technology in circuit boards and batteries and machines. You could evolve the human mind through another million years, and God knows where that would take you in biological evolution without one machine or metal part, because it might be that bones could evolve to be stronger than metals, so you wouldn't even need metal, and it might be detrimental to have metal bones if you were, somewhere where there was large magnetic forces, because you might not be able to move. If there's a really, really strong magnetic force, and some scientist has upgraded you to metal bones, it would be highly unproductive to walk around if someone had a big magnet. So if Mark Zuckerberg said, right, I am the Iron Man, and then he made his bones out of metal so you couldn't snap them, and then I switched on a big magnet, then it would be doodly skiddled, because Mark Zuckerberg would be stuck to a wall like Han Solo in Carbon Freezing, and he won't be able to move anywhere. I'd have him pinned to the wall. No matter how many circuit boards he had unless he had some sort of anti-magnetic thing as well. But, I severely doubt that, he could do that, unless he's using some sort of power energy system from the planet and charging God knows what. You're getting super technical now. But the fact is that we've got issues at the moment with technology and population growth and health. These people are primarily concerned about this thing called money and profit, where in order for them to exert their influence and will on the world, they need money, and they want to do what they want to do. They want to make machines, and they want to use those machines to control other people what to do and learn things that they can't otherwise learn without those machines. And they want you to buy their things and allow them to do it. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to do it. Now, they're doing it to a certain degree where it's actually encroaching on other people's peace. It's breaking the peace of the countryside, the peace of the ancient sites and heritage, and the peace of villages and places where people don't want planes flying over and people going YouTubing around, filming Hawaii and other volcano eruptions like left, right and centre YouTubers. You got Richard Branson. Branson is saying, work from home on one hand, less traffic, and on the other hand, he's saying, fly around the world on my aeroplanes and make YouTube videos. So what he's doing is he's saying, basically, no one's going to be driving to work, but everyone's going to be driving to the airport and flying around making YouTube videos, So it's a contradiction. Now, Boris Johnson doesn't want people to be able to say where houses can and can't be built. Boris Johnson wants the power to be able to modify any village or any town to any design that he wants without anyone being able to object. He wants to be able to redesign the entire country. If he wants it to be Fabergé, then it'll be Fabergé. If he wants the island to be, Cybertron, it'll be Cybertron. And if he wants it to be peasant village, it'll be a peasant village. Boris wants to be able to do what he wants to do, and nobody can challenge it. And that's like what Mark Zuckerberg is doing. The only way we can challenge it is if we come together and vote against it. Now, that is essentially them we don't really have monarchs anymore. We have Prince Harry joining this elite business class. We've got this division. We've got a division where if you are in allegiance with these corporate entities, then if you are aligned with them and in their camp, then you'll be rewarded. And if not, you will be stripped of all rights, all financial capacity, and you're against them, and you're not going to be important in the scheme of things, and you're going to have things done to you and your lot and your livelihood that are detrimental, and they're not going to care because they're making money out of it, and their lot in life is going to be protected. And more is better to them. It's not, to them, it's not the right thing to do, or they don't think it's productive to give half of their stuff away to other people, and have smaller things, smaller houses, smaller gardens, and smaller profits. They do not believe that that is better, that less is more. They don't think that the value in life is in other people's happiness. They don't believe that if they can make other people happy, then there won't be any need for stealing. There won't be any need for arguments, and there won't be any need for putting fences around schools, and there won't be need for any security and surveillance, because no one will need to take anything from them. They don't believe that if they just empty their bank accounts into the public and spread it out, then, there won't be any need. It's... But then again, that means that everyone will have an equal say and opinion in what happens to the country and the world. Everyone will have an equal share in decisions. They don't want everyone to have an equal share in decisions. Because currently, no one is liking what's happening to heritage sites, near heritage sites, or near villages and towns. But for some reason, the council and the government are getting away with being able to do it. Even though nobody's really happy about it, they're capping the capacity for us to send messenger messages, have free speech in groups, and they're wanting everyone to not really pull together unless they're pulling together in one of three organisations, which is either Labour, Tory, or Liberal Democrats. And even Liberal Democrats now are curbing free speech. Nick Clegg doesn't want anyone to have free speech on Facebook because there are caps on everything. There are caps on tagging, there are caps on messenger messages, they've got buttons in groups so you can't say what you want. They're wanting to make a world where you can't, if you're in a group, you can only say things that are, if you go into a cafe, you got to go in there to buy a cake or a coffee. You don't go into a cafe to ask, where the taxi rank is, because it's not a tax. You haven't got free speech in there. You have to have some element of free speech wherever you go, or you won't be able to talk, because you can't say, "Oh, this is a tennis club," and then while you're playing tennis, you can't talk about, you had a bad day at work with your tennis friends, because, what else are you going to talk? You chat. It's conversation. So it is about, who are we? Who are these people? Where are they from? Who is the government? Why do they have these costumes? Why have a wig, a long wig and a robe? It's a costume, it's an outfit, but it's, why? There's someone cantering over the hill on a horse with fabric hanging over it with bright coloured shield. Why? This is clan, whatever, it's the, who is this? He's the clan of the White Horse. He's a knight of the White Horse, Get out of his way, he's on a mission, out of the way, Peck. It's like on Willow, out of the way, Peck. It's, who is this? Oh, it's a magistrate, Oh, it's a police officer in a police car with his lights flashing, get out of the way. What is that? This is the Camp Pendragon. If that is not the Camp Pendragon, which is the hill fort at the head of the massive dragon figure guarding the entrance to the southwest, then what is? There's been a mix-up and a change in the legends. It's the Celts are meant to be holding off. We know that, Scotland Cornwall and Wales were significant, but the Pendragon now is used for Wales. Prince Charles is the Prince of Wales. The truth is that the dragon, that hill fort being legitimately an Iron Age hill fort, it clearly is. That is the Dragon Vale. That is the Dragon Clan. That is the Dragon Headquarters. What else? It's significant. I mean, they even speak Gaelic still in some parts of Cornwall. But we've got these people, these professional archaeologists, professional historians, speculating on this, speculating on that. They're doing a disservice to the country. No matter what Geoffrey of Monmouth written down, there's just a guy writing something down. These archaeologists and historians, I don't think they're telling the truth. Now, the Christians, St. Patrick was meant to have driven out all the snakes from Ireland. Now, if they ate a big snake head or dragon head, old enough from Cornwall, I don't know where we got that idea from. There are religious forces at work that have been wanting to remove history, truths, names, knowledge from our history. They didn't write anything down, but what's in that history, what is in that names are people, knowledge, powers, maybe even authority. Not the authority, people and powers that this current government want to acknowledge and recognise. Only their accredited, affiliated and loyal archaeologists, loyal professors and loyal, advocates who have been carefully and skillfully trained to their camps and their opinions and their way of seeing things, their methods of archaeology, what they say is right and true, right? Clearly not recognising the truth. Now, we have got people who are looking into it, investigating it, and we're finding that they have been lying about certain things. They've not been telling the truth about certain things. And further to that, they've actively got a government that has been breaking the law, lying, and using certain procedures to actually mislead and trick us, and putting food out there that is severely detrimental to his health, to his memory, to our awareness, sharpness, fleetness, quickness of memory and reactions. People are falling asleep halfway through the day because they can't stay awake. All these McDonald's and foods that we have. Why is it Warburton's bread? Well, there's videos now that Dr. Berg and Dr. Ekberg on YouTube are making. It's destroying his metabolism. We're not in fact fit fighting shape, in fit fighting form. We haven't got the best memory that we could have from nutrition. We're falling asleep halfway through the day. People's bones are getting old and the back's creaking over like Yoda because they haven't been getting the proper calcium. We've been fed milk and cheese, which is not very good because it's too much protein. We haven't been eating all the greens. Now, if you go to a court before the majesty of the magistrate, when you have been eating properly and you are at the full power and capacity of your ancestors, and you have been well read in the law and you understand it to the letter, and you are fit, sharp and fearless, you will not fear the lion. And the lion and the unicorn are all we've got at the moment. You might be able to be the dragon, or be the bear, or the hart in court, and you might be able to outwit the fox. The magistrate who's been lying through his teeth about procedures, fixing proceedings, lying about rights and law when it's clearly laid out in plain English on the paper. Everyone knows what it means. Because he doesn't want to lose. We don't put judges in prison. They are gods. The majesty of the majesty before us. All rise to the majesty of this man. He was sending us to the lunatic asylum. Line them up, get them judges in prison. You. Watson. Perrins. Who are they? Who are these people? Who do they think they are? The majesty! The royal lions of power! That's what it's about! Now that Ilfort is the Pendragon! Ilfort! We are the dragons! And those magistrates are liars! On fire! Of the law! It's their law. It's the law of that government. And as it suits that government, it will manipulate and lie and change it and fix proceedings. Now, this is why Extinction Rebellion are all over this country rebelling, blocking newspaper outlets, blocking oil rigs, sitting across the motorway. There's a war going on in Russia. We've had the entire world under a virus threat. Why? Because of power of the lion and the unicorn. They will not be defeated. They are the mighty creatures. And they know best how to run the world. Keep everyone filled with bread and milk and butter and dumb them down, or there'll be trouble. And they've been milking us for money and coinage and profit, fattening us up and tricking and misleading us, taking rights away. They want money and to order us around. And now they want to build everywhere. And they want more technology, so there's more power and more control and more devices. Because they think Mark Zuckerberg believes that he knows how this planet should be run socially. He is the social expert of the world. Yet, why is it that I cannot send, when it's the right of law to petition any citizen, it's not spam? Even Elon Musk says they're enforcing on Facebook and on Twitter, they're not enforcing it to the letter of the law. They're adding additional policies over it, which are not even lawful. I don't know how they can do it. Because we will have too much power if we have free sending messages. Because we will be able to get people to sign and agree to things which the three main parties don't want to do. The Lib Dems, the Conservatives, and Labour. They are the ones who make the decisions. Not us. And that's the problem. So that is what it's about. They don't want to recognise the powers and who the actual people are and where they're from. Not the old original peoples who have been conquered. And all the places where they're from, the places they lived, and their names, they've been trying to erase them and mix it all up. And they'll tell you who you are. I'll give you a grade. I'll tell you how intelligent you are. I'll tell you if you understand this or not. I'll tell you if you understand that or not. join the academy, and do what the teacher says, and you will grow up to be a nice conservative with conservative ideas and policy. And if you don't follow the conservative camp, then you will have to leave camp, and things won't go right for you in life if you don't follow the conservative way. That's what it's about, essentially. So, it's all about the truth of who we are and where we're from. And they don't really want us, they haven't want us to know who we are and where we're from.